Right, so I'm a little bit late on my December update, but yeah, been doing a lot of stuff, so let's go. So first of all, I've been just tidying up around this area, just pruned back roses and relayed some large scoria chips. And this is the entranceway to the garden. That's where I keep a lot of my composting stuff, so it's a bit messy. We've all got those messy bits. I just happen to have a few messy bits, worm farming, etc. So this is the bit I've done recently, covered with wood chip and turned it into a nice family barbecue area, as you can see here, and that is the butterfly garden that Ella and I have made. Lots of nice things for butterflies and bees, and there's our little water station with a gnome in it, so butterflies and bees can land on it and have a drink without drowning. And then if you come around here, this is the no-dig garden that I'm experimenting with, and these are cherry tomatoes that I've planted a while back, and they're just rampant. It's kind of a cross between a no-dig and permaculture, because wrapped up in amongst these tomatoes is a pumpkin that seems to have decided to grow in amongst it. There's plenty of herbs down there. Let's just come along a bit. Oof. And if you have a look under there, I thought I got all the bulbs to those miniature lilies up, but obviously not, so they've decided to grow there. There's lots of tomatoes and lettuce, and there's some pole beans, courgette. Down there there's some cucumbers. This is my sorrel. And back around, another look at the family garden area. There's some sunflowers there and some lettuce and basil and stuff in pots. And it's another workstation area here. I like those. Seem to have a lot of them around the garden. And then so down here is another little herb garden, and in there is, I'm going to plant a small fig tree. There's lots of lovely bee plants around here, and you can hear the bees actually in my rosemary bush at the moment. Now, over here is where I harvested the garlic, and I've just got a couple of rows of potatoes and some tomatoes just to fill in the gaps, and over here is a few potato pots, and that's where the pumpkin going into the no-dig garden started its life off. It seems to be roaming around the garden. Down here are some cucumbers. I've got mint, grows wild in my garden. It just grows everywhere. I let it grow. If it's in somewhere I don't want it, I just pull it out. I've got mint, spearmint, peppermint, and soon to be chocolate mint, which is growing rampant. In here there's a shoe fly plant, which does seem to keep the flies at bay a little bit, and those there are yacon, so they're almost as tall as me now. Some more courgettes. Under there somewhere is a guava tree, which is slowly growing. My scarlet runner beans. Some more climbing beans. Some more potato pots. And down the end there is another bee garden. So we'll go down along the path here. This is going to be my little feijoa hedge, which is still coming along nicely. And this is my pineapple sage, which is massive. We use that for juicing and all sorts of stuff, and the bees love it. The plants are bright red and they seem to buzz around there. These are the peas Ella and I planted. Not a lot of these get inside. In fact, I'm surprised that I'm going to get one now. Yep, that's pretty good. And then here we have some potatoes that I'm pulling up, some more tomatoes and courgettes, more courgettes over there, some strawberries, another pumpkin. Might not have enough soil on that, doesn't seem to be going too far, so might have to fix that up. Sort of a overview. It's a small garden, as you can see. I've just squeezed a lot in it, which is cool. And then down to the greenhouse, 2 compost bins. That's the one I'm using for stuff at the moment, and this will be the new one which I'm filling up rapidly. So come down here, we've got bits and pieces. Got a tamarillo tree which I might move out into the main garden soon. And then in here we've got tomatoes coming along nicely, cucumbers, just some stuff I'm working on there, and my garlic, which is quite happily drying off there. We snuck one of the bulbs last night into the food and they taste great. Right. Back we go up here, past the shed, along these little paths. As you can see, it's small and there's a few twists and turns, but I try and make the most of the small space to squeeze as much as I can in. And I say 80% of our veg at the moment comes out of here. It'll probably get more as things start to ripen a bit more. But ultimately, the Ellis Ferry garden, which we enjoy, and a couple more containers of lettuce, my boysenberry, which has been producing quite a few this year, which is kind of interlinked with that hydrangea. They just seem to bush together, so that's quite nice. And a lemongrass there that I bought that I'm going to plant some stage this week. And my little herb garden down here with that's oregano there and peppermint mixed amongst the oregano, and down there is more oregano and thyme and all sorts of stuff. It also makes the clothesline smell nice. And this one here, I'm going to actually weed that out and put some lavender around there, so that should be nice. Then back we are at the beginning. So, bit of an update. A few things happening. It's been raining here. Oh look, here's my globe artichoke that sort of grows up into our orange tree. We get plenty of oranges from this tree, but amazing colours. The bees love this too. We don't really eat them. I always find it's a little bit too much like hard work. Preparing for what you get out of them, but actually I do like the plant, so it's more decorative and for the bees. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of artichoke lovers out there wringing their hands in anguish because those look pretty decent. So that's pretty much December and a little bit of January. The bee plants seem to be working because we've got masses of bees in garden, and here's a few bumblebees. There's a few native bees around too. I've noticed since I've put in a lot more bee plants, it just seems to be alive with bees. There's a few wasps. I have eradicated a few wasp nests from places where Ella and the kids play, but I've left a couple that are sort of out of the way because they seem to do a lot of work with aphids and stuff like that. I don't seem to have a lot of predators in here at the moment, which is great. Yeah, so what ones that are here I'm willing to share with. Got a lot of birds around. They tend to leave the crops alone, even the berries surprisingly, because I have a lot of these food scrap buckets which dotted about. And that one's empty, a little bit in the bottom, but I quite often leave those open and the birds help themselves. I've got semi-obese birds here. It's quite a lot of little fat birds, so they're quite happy. They seem to enjoy the bugs and that, so they tend to leave my crops alone. Thank you, birds. So I will see you guys later, and I'll do one later in January, see how we're going. And hopefully I'll get better at this, because yes, very amateur compared to some of the videos I see on YouTube, but a bit of a laugh. See you all.